States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I just want to take a moment to thank all my board members that attended graduation again, and all the activities with groundbreaking as well. I was trying to see what else we had. It seemed like we have meetings coming up on the 21st, and we won't be off the hook until about June 28th. But again, I appreciate everyone going to the activities, especially graduation, where, again, we see all our students and everything that we have set in place, set in motion for the year, and with the graduates receiving their diploma. I'm sure there'll be other diplomas handed out this summer as well. Dr. Rios, there'll be other diplomas that...
Yes, sir. We'll have 2 graduations.
Okay.
So we're hoping to add about another 50 graduates.
It's wonderful time because, again, you'll see the parents really rejoice once they complete their credit hours or whatever they're lacking and graduate for the end of the year. Okay, so with that being said, we have first item is a school board workshop 2021-2022 proposed budget workshop. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, we have our 2021-2022 proposed budget workshop. And some items that we will be reviewing this evening are going to be our district compensation plan. We are going to review the interactive workbook with some updates that we have since the last time we met. We will then look at our budget projections for the general fund and the debt service. And then we will go over the next steps for our budget. At this time, Mrs. Aide Garcia will go over our compensation plan.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. We're going to go ahead and start with the Model 3 that TASB presented and that we would be recommending later tonight. This is a 4% general pay increase for all employees. When we add the insurance contribution, then it does come out to 6.9 general pay increase. If we see the table here, we have a total of 608 teachers. So that would be an increase to the plan for $1,571,868. There is one increase for 2,168. And then to bring some adjustments for teachers from years 2 to 16, which we'll see right now in the next page, it would be a total of $170,041. For the administrative professional pay plan, this includes counselors, campus principals, assistant principals, everyone that is on the administrative pay scale as we have it there in your booklet under the compensation pay plan. The total for that is 157 staff for a total of 506,276. There'd be 19 employees that are over the range maximum for a total of $47,058. So since we do not have a cap as a district, these employees would still qualify for the 4% increase. Then there's 2 employees that would have an increase for the teacher pay equity adjustment. This would be, for example, if the teacher pay scale is higher than these employees, then there is an adjustment for them as well. Then anybody that is under 90%, we have here 21 individuals listed, so that the cost for the plan would be $14,878. For paraprofessionals, we have a total of 365 paraprofessionals. The cost to the plan would be $422,035. We have 312 employees that would get the 337,516, plus 53 employees that are getting paid over the max, which still would qualify for the 4%, which would be at 51,204. And adjustments to the 90% is 114 employees for 30,159. For our auxiliary employees, there's 299 for a total to the plan for 366,596. There's 14 employees over the range max for 12,817. 2 that are above the range minimum, which would means with the new minimum plan that we would have to bring them up to par, would be $877. And then the cost for 42 employees under the placement scale adjustment would be $35,627. So the total for this general pay increase would be $2,607,850. The adjustments to the plan would be $258,924 for a total estimate of $2,866,744. Again, as a reminder, the district will be contributing $1,440,000. That's $42.85 per employee per pay period. So the total for this plan, which is 6.9% general pay increase, would be $4,306,744. Any questions on this slide?
Board members? No.
The next slide we see here is the pay plan for teachers, academic support specialists, art facilitators, reading and dyslexia, interventionist specialists. The 4% for the general pay increase comes out to $2,300 per these positions. And then, like we mentioned earlier, we would have some additional adjustments for teachers between year 1 and year 16. So this would bring us to a start salary of $50,250. On the bottom of the page, we can see what the range minimum is, which we mentioned. This is the starting salary for a teacher, $50,250 once this would get approved. And the minimum is $57,635. Any questions on the teacher compensation pay plan?
Anyone?
Next, we have some changes to our administrative professional pay plan. Administration is recommending to remove the following positions, which will not be active for the 2021-2022 school year. Migrant advocate, graduation specialist, instructional support specialist, elementary curriculum coordinator, registered occupational therapist, and academic achievement specialist. We would also recommend to update the job title for student services coordinator to match the new job description as student registration and enrollment coordinator. Additional changes to the administration compensation pay plan include the following. Update the job title for Technology Integration and Communication Director to the new job description of Director of Communication and Public Relations. Create a new position for Assistant Athletic Director. And as per TASB recommendation, move the position of Bilingual ESL Director to a pay grade 6 on the administrative pay plan from a pay grade 5. Move the position of Director Administrative from pay grade 7 to pay grade 9. The salary was already approved before, but we're asking to move this to match with the pay as a pay grade 9. Next, we have Paraprofessionals Pay Plan. Any questions on the administrative professional pay plan before I move to the paraprofessional?
No, don't hear it.
Okay. Here, administration is recommending to remove the following positions, which again will not be active for the 2021-2022 compensation pay plan. Data processing, staff development, bilingual ESL. Budget assistant clerk, which we will recommend to convert to a procurement clerk. The director, curriculum and instruction secretary, and a migrant program secretary. Next, we have the auxiliary pay plan. Administration will recommend to remove the following positions: general maintenance assistant, small engine repair mechanic, journeyman electrician will be converted to electrician apprentice, master plumber, and convert 2 maintenance positions for maintenance foreman and remove any maintenance leads throughout attrition. Any questions on the auxiliary pay plan? Next, we'll move to supplemental stipends. The lead nurse stipend will be removed since now we have a health service coordinator who has assumed those responsibilities. We will also move the ROTC instructor verbiage has been updated. It currently indicates we only have 1. And so we're going to remove that verbiage to match our actual personnel, which currently we have 3 instructors for ROTC. Next, we have the substitute pay scale and summer school pay rates. Here, we want to avoid confusion with the nurse assistant, which previously we would call them certified nurse assistants, and then we had a critical needs assistant. So anytime that someone would say CNA, we didn't know whether we were talking about nurse assistant or critical needs assistant. So now the nurses are going to be nurse assistant, and the critical needs assistant will keep that title, the CNA. Part-time temporary pay. Campuses hire degree substitutes for monitoring testing, and we just want to state that the rate will be the same as it is listed in our substitute pay scale, which currently it shows $7.25 per hour. So instead of keeping that, we're going to keep the same as a substitute. Paraprofessionals who assist with extra duty on district initiatives such as testing after school or weekends will be paid at a higher pay rate, which would be instead of $12, it will be $25. Any questions on the recommendations that we're going to propose later this evening?
Any questions, board members?
Process of it. Ask about, I just don't know if it's specific areas, if we're allowed to ask about it, or does it have to happen behind closed doors when talking about pay? An individual, I don't know.
Okay.
Or the position.
I can see all that.
We have to discuss it in open session.
Okay.
But if you
as long as we don't
process it, you can ask when we bring it for recommendation when we go into the open meeting, unless you know the question now.
No, I'm still processing it, so I'll bring it back.
Okay.
I have one question.
Yes,
On the administrative professional pay, you have 5 positions that will be removed, but on the packet that we received, we have 6. And that one that is not listed on the ones that you stated is the coordinator, student services. Is that still being removed or not?
that is a title change.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, sir. We can go.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening once again. At this time, we are going to go over the expenditures on the interactive workbook once more. Since the last time we met and went over it, we did receive some feedback from board members, which we very much appreciate. And so we have had some changes in the expenditures for the budget. So for the salary increase that Ms. Garcia just went over, we are recommending the 4% general pay increase to the midpoint, which for the 4% increase will be a $2,866,774 increase, along with the increase in the insurance contribution that administration is recommending of $1,440,000 for a total increase, 6.9% increase of $4,306,774. For positions, we have the CTE teachers at the San Felipe Memorial Middle School and Del Rio Middle School that we are recommending. We are also recommending the crossing guard change at Robert Barrera Elementary from 6 to 8 hours. We are also recommending the 2 new maintenance supervisors. Now, we did update the salary and benefits amount for this one because these are not 2 new positions. We will be pulling from our pool of maintenance workers already. So we did update the amount since they will be employees already. It'll just be the difference in pay for the supervisor position. We're also recommending a speech language pathologist, an increase in the special ed stipends from $1,100 to $2,000. We will be converting a budget clerk position to a procurement clerk. And then we have the librarian positions at the elementary campuses. And we added the assistant athletic director. So those changes are an increase of $787,782. For construction at this time, we are recommending the Del Rio Freshman Asphalt Project, as well as the Del Rio High School turf replacement. The roof repairs from the hail damage, these are already part of the insurance money that we have received from TASB and are already part of the contracts that are ongoing for the repairs. So if they are not finished, completed by the end of June, they will be rolled forward as part of the committed budget. So that is why they are currently checked as no. For food service equipment, at this time, they are all selected as no due to the fact that we will be receiving a TDA reimbursement funds. And when we receive those funds, we will use that money to replace food service equipment that is needed. For operations, we are recommending the campus furniture at Ruben Chavita, the interior painting at Garfield, the interior painting at Lamar, the exterior painting at Buena Vista, and the purchase of a security vehicle. And then for technology, at this time, we are recommending the virtual environment licenses and the Toshiba copiers lease. Any questions before I continue?
Anyone has a question?
All right. So at this time, for the 2021-2022 general fund revenue, for local revenue, we are projecting $23,216,812. For state funding, $70,488,356. And for federal sources, $1,393,000, for a total revenue of $95,098,168. For general fund expenditures, the total of salaries and benefits are $82,761,995. Non-salary expenditures are $23,254,306. At this time, it does result in a deficit of $10,918,132. But as we shared before, we do have our ESSER 3 funding that we will be moving some of these costs to. We're looking at moving $5,823,576 of salaries. We're looking at moving the general pay increase of $2,866,774. The increase in the positions of $787,782, as well as the insurance contribution increase of $1,440,000. As a reminder, the ESSER 3 funds will only cover the deficit for 1 year. So moving forward, some of the things that we will be looking at doing will be the increase of ADA, finding insurance solutions, and equalizing employees to actual enrollment. Any questions on general fund?
Yes. Have we always projected below the 88, the actual? We're projecting 8980.
That is our current ADA as of today. For this year, So we are using the current ADA as our projection.
That's the standard.
Well, Mr. President, in the past, we were conservative in projecting our ADA, but oftentimes we projected a little bit higher than what we actually had at the time we proposed the budget. Because of transitioning from the COVID year to what we hope to be a regular year, we believe that we're being ultra conservative in proposing the ADA as it currently is. Our expectation is that the ADA will increase for about 3 reasons. One, we expect that the students that did not enroll in pre-K will enroll, or pre-K enrollment will go up this year as opposed to last year. The birth rate for kindergarten students is higher this year than in previous years. And then we believe that students who were not enrolled due to COVID will be returning. So we're being very conservative, but at this point, it's we just want to proceed with caution.
Okay. We know already that the bill that was supposed to cover virtual lessons did not pass. So it would all be face-to-face,
Yes, sir.
except for some exceptions, which could be a medical or some other emergencies.
Correct. If,
Okay.
People that are homebound, perhaps, but
Okay.
that would be better.
So, we still have the final carryover monies in August that will be added?
Well, we're gonna do it this year on June 24th. Is that the projected date, ma'am? For the-
Yes, that's when, June 30th will be our fiscal year end. So yes, but on the 24th, we will be recommending the final.
Yeah, so this time we'll be done with everything in June.
So that would be the actual amount.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One other thing is, you know, the print is small. Where is the fund balance again? Projected fund balance.
I don't have that down here at this
You
time.
don't have it?
No. We'll do that on the 24th.
Okay. Questions? Josh? You sure? Anyone else?
Just a clarification, Mr. Messer. Just when I say food service equipment will be taken care of with the.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Dr. Rios, you want to mention something on that? I know on the update you mentioned that there was some agreement between Val Verde Regional on estimated costs.
Yes, sir. Our insurance consultant, Brown and Brown, have approached the hospital and suggested that in turn for a 10 to 15% decrease in their rates, we would turn around and pay 100% of the cost of the negotiated cost per employee. That means that anytime any one of our employees went to Val Verde Regional Medical Center, there would not be a bill sent to them. Once we pay on behalf of the employee would not see any charges. Works both ways. One, we get a discount, and two, the hospital doesn't have to go and collect. They don't have a good collection rate. So we hope that is the beginning of a long-term solution for our health fund. That, and also we saw an increase of well over $1 million in COVID-related testing and other items. So we hope that too will decrease our expenses, and that hopefully we'll begin to build a fund balance in the health fund again.
And I know the legislative session ended Monday last week.
Sunday? Sunday?
When? Last Sunday. Okay. Because my understanding is there was some adjustment in the funding that is favorable. That more than likely we'll get an update for the post-legislative session at SLI. That's my understanding.
The tables always go through multiple revisions. Sometimes it ends up favorable for most districts and not some, but the funding table, the last update to the funding tables will be when?
Omar just put out a template today, so I will be using that new template going forward.
And we'll provide an update to see if that template yielded increased revenue or not in the next update.
I think there's something already posted in TASB's, I wouldn't say blog, but they call it a podcast. There's something that was sent by TASB, I believe, on the 4th. That's already saying that it was favorable for funding adjustments. But I'm sure we'll get the rest when we go to the post-legislative session. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Yes.
So, I'm looking at the projected 10 million in deficit, and then the ESSER 3 is about 10 million also, right? We're gonna get 5.8 to cover salaries, is that how? I wanna make sure I'm understanding it right.
Yes,
So out of ESSER three funding, 5.8 to help with salaries, 2.8 to help with the general pay increase. 787,000 for the different positions that we're adding, and then it's also gonna help with insurance contributions. So is the 10 million before we add in the ESSER?
it's to offset it, sir.
It's offset, so,
It's the exact amount that we'll need to offset.
okay, so, okay. Because it was looking that way, and I was just making sure, so it's temporarily going to zero it out until the new data starts to come in. with the template or whatever we're talking about. And then we'll start to get a better idea as we get into late June, early July. Just a maybe, or in August because of the funding formula now that we use.
No, the funding formula might help a little bit with this if once she reviews the funding tables, if it is, as Mr. Mesa indicated, they're favorable. Any favorability, then we would decrease the dependency on the ESSER funds.
Okay.
And then we would use the ESSER funds for other district projects that are allowed under those guidelines. What will begin to help us prepare for next year is increased enrollment and reduced expenses. So if we increase enrollment to 50% of what we lost, okay, well then we just reduce costs by the remaining amount. That's really what's going to help us. Our everything indicates that the enrollment will go up. Again, we were very conservative in just projecting enrollment without taking into account the increased enrollment at Cardwell. We know that's going to go up. We've been at 500 for years. Right now, we're only about 350. Okay, so we know we're going to get 150 more students. We also know that the birth rate for kindergartens is higher this year than it has been in a long time. So we expect another extra 100 students in kindergarten, more or less. That's already 250 more students. And then we expect that there's another 100 to 200 students out there that will return to school after COVID. And that's what's going to begin to help a whole lot.
Thank you.
Dr. Rios, one other question. The reimbursement that we get for special services, forget the term that we use for collecting these funds.
Oh, we build charge.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I remember when we contracted with either the Region Center to get reimbursed for those services. Or we contracted with someone.
The charge is mainly billed by special education. Now, they do collaborate with the service center in ensuring that everything is adequate. But it's our people that do most of it.
Our people do. Okay, we're still
Yes, sir.
getting our fair share.
Yeah, she has the amount that we get from charge listed up here on the table.
Yes, I've estimated about 800,000 a year.
And that's an average for my list. Okay.
The next one I have is our debt service proposal at this time. For 2021, 2022, the debt fund, we are looking at a projected revenue of $1,630,426 with expenditures of $1,658,500. That will leave us with a deficit of $28,074. However, we do have about a $500,000 fund balance that will be brought forward to cover. All right, and at this time, our next steps, of course, today we had our proposed budget meeting. Our next meeting will be the public hearing to adopt the budget and discuss the tax rate, if y'all approve that tonight, which will be set for June 21st. And then we will have our final amendments meeting for the 2020, 2021 fiscal year budget on June 24th, 2020.
Any questions from anyone? That's a lot of information. I'm sure we'll be digesting all this and probably bring some questions later on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll adjourn the workshop and go into a special call board meeting. First item of business that we have is Business and Finance, item 13 on your agenda. A, consideration to approve the board meeting date for the purpose of adopting the budget on June 21st, 2021. Any changes?
Good evening once again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The 2021-2022 budget is being prepared for the purpose of adopting the budget set for June 21st, 2021. The notice of public meeting to discuss budget and proposed tax rate will be published in the 830 Times on June 9th, 2021, and the Uvalde Leader News on June 10th, 2021. The notice will include our voter approval rate and our proposed tax rate for M&O tax of 0.9927 cents and INS of 0.057 cents. And I did provide a copy of the notice that will be in the paper stations.
Questions? No questions. Recommendation?
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the date of the public hearing for the purpose of adopting the 2021-2022 budget and discuss the proposed tax rate be set for June 21st, 2021 at 6 p.m. and approve for the proposed tax rate be used in the publication of the notice of public meeting to discuss budget and proposed tax rate.
With the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Ms. Overfeld, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item that we have is Human Resources, consideration to approve the 2021-2022 district compensation plans. Garcia.
Yes, good evening again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. In your packet, we included the entire compensation pay plan. Next to on your desk, we put a revised copy for the paraprofessional pay plan. Under pay grade 8, we only have the executive assistant for superintendent and board. For some reason, some of the positions for pay grade 6 also printed on pay grade 8. So you have the revised copy. And at this time, if there's any other questions before I make the recommendation.
Questions from board members? So this replaces what we have in the pack.
In the packet, yes, in the packet under paraprofessional pay plan for pay grade 8.
Questions?
I know pay is always an interesting subject and touchy subject. I'm glad that we're going to be able to, especially after the last 18 months, be able to go in and offer this 4% general pay increase across all the different spectrums for the individuals who work for us. As always, I wish it could be more. Teachers, I wish we could pay you like doctors. And you should be paid that. But I'm glad we're making every effort, and administration did bring, or is recommending, the highest of the choices that have been presented over the last couple of months. I'm glad that's happening, and I think our teachers appreciate, and really everyone appreciates what we're about to pass here.
I'm glad you're making emphasis to that, Ms. Overfeld. It seems like we struggle every year to try to get the highest and yet realize at the end that we don't have the monies. But I think at this time, we're able to do this. I hope that in the long run, we can continue to provide the highest increase. But I think this is it's easy for us to say yes. I just want to make sure that we can continue to provide the best for our teachers. Right, every recommendation that is made by the salary study, that's the reason that we have it. And so it was quite easy this year. I just hope we can continue and provide that nice increase. Anyone else? I also want to thank the staff for providing us this all together, because as we have meetings after meetings, sometimes we go in different vehicles and so forth and end up losing a packet here and there, but it's organized so well. Appreciate that. With no questions from the board, then we'll ask for the recommendation.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the 2021-2022 district compensation plans as presented.
For the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion by Ms. Gonzalez, second to the motion. Amy Haynes, all those in favor? Motions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We look at the agenda. We're now going to go into closed session permitted by sections 551.074. It is 6:46 p.m. We're now in closed session. Okay. The time is 7:57 p.m. We're now going to reconvene into open session. No action was taken in executive session. We're down to item 17 on our agenda. Item 17A, pursuant to 551. We're down to item 15A, not 17. Consideration to approve the personnel report to include the following: new hires, district vacancies, retirements, and resignations. Garcia.
Yes, sir. Good evening again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. It is the recommendation of administration for the Board of Trustees to approve the resignation, vacancies, and following new personnel. Vanessa Salinas, pre-kindergarten teacher at Irene Cardwell Elementary. Aaron Riley, fourth grade teacher at Chavita Elementary, Ruben Chavita Elementary. Crystal Lerma, fifth grade teacher at Garfield Elementary. Ashley Rust, mathematics teacher at San Felipe Memorial Middle School. Victoria Garcia, CTE career teacher at San Felipe Memorial Middle School. Luis Alan Gallegos, mathematics teacher at Del Rio Middle School, 8th grade. Roberto Flores, ELA teacher at Del Rio High School. Angela Torres Ortiz, CTE health science teacher for Del Rio High School. And Maria de Jesus Sigli, CTE business education dual credit teacher for Del Rio High School.
Any questions from board members? Okay, you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Ms. Webb. All those in favor? Motion approves unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Rios, our next meeting will be?
Next meeting, Mr. Mesa, will be the regular June scheduled board meeting, and that meeting is scheduled for June 21st. That'll be our regular June board meeting. And Ms. Childers, that same week, we will have, I'm sorry, Mr. Mesa, on June 21, at the regular scheduled board meeting, we'll adopt the budget. Today was just the presentation of the budget. And then on the 24th, we will do final amendments. And then the week of the 28th, we're off completely. So I hope that everybody plans to be in town. I know it's summer. And everybody needs a break now that the COVID restrictions are somewhat lifted. But please not on the week of June 21.
Okay. With that being said, is there a motion for adjournment? Mr. Oldfeld, seconded by Mrs. Webb. All those in favor? We're adjourned. Motion carries. Thank you very much, and y'all have a good night.